Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial, 1380 AM. And you can also catch us on WNRI.com. And we rebroadcast the show on Saturdays at 1 p.m. And it's also on Spotify as a podcast. Just look for the Joe Luca Real Estate Show, and you'll be able to listen to the show again in case you miss some of it. We don't want you to miss any part of the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. I want you to be especially thankful for our sponsors. We have G Metz Moving and Storage. G Metz, the best move you'll ever make, number one mover in southern New England. Check them out at gmetzmoving.com. You can get a quote for your move at their website, and you can even schedule a move at the website. That's gmetzmoving.com. Please check them out. Also, Don Miller, the principal lender at North Point Bank. Every time I get a buyer who comes in without a pre-approval, I say, hey, you've got to give Don a call. He is the principal lender at North Point Bank. The best number to reach him or text him at is 401-241-9676. That's Don Miller, the principal lender at North Point Bank. And we also have, of course, Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. A public insurance adjuster, folks, works for you, the property owner, not the insurance company. You know, when you have a claim, we've had a lot of crazy weather this year. If it's the ice, if it's the water, if it's the snow, if it's the wind. A friend of mine had a tree fall on his house. The first call you want to make is to your insurance company, but the second call you want to make is to Vern Rainville, because the adjuster the insurance company sends is looking out for the insurance company, not for you. So give Vern a call, 484-300-8495. That's 484-300-8495. Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. And you know, if you're wondering, because I had a claim last year, I wonder if I received everything I was entitled to. You can go back almost as far as 2 years ago. But you have to give Vern a call, 484-300-8495, and he will definitely get back to you and try and help you out. And of course, we also have Beacon Title and Escrow. Beacon does a fantastic job for our buyers and sellers of commercial real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. You know, whenever we have a closing and if there's a hiccup, Anthony Betancourt, managing partner, Rich Nicholson, attorney partner, and their staff of great paralegals and attorneys are ready to help. That's Beacon Title and Escrow, fastest growing title and escrow company in northern Rhode Island. If you have any questions, you can give me a call, 401-409-5030. That's me, Joe Luca, your humble host. And if you want to learn more about me or try and reach me, if you forget the number, just Google Joe Luca, L-U-C-A, Realtor, R-E-A-L-T-O-R. And you'll find me on the internet, my webpage. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I have a YouTube page if you want to, I try to put some content on there, video content pretty consistently. I think I have about 147 videos on there right now. So it's worth checking it out. Now, if you're looking at something online and you have a question, again, text or call 401-409-5030. If I don't pick up, please leave a message, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Okay, I've had a couple of folks the past few weeks give a call in response to, my request if you have questions, and it's worked out well. So if you have a question, whether you're thinking about selling your home now or in a year or a year and a half, no hurry. I'm not going to try and pressure you to do something you're not ready for. But we can certainly start answering questions so you can prepare for the day whenever it is that you're going to sell your house or get ready to buy another house, okay? Or even buy your first house if you're a tenant. Let's say you just started renting, you signed your first lease, and you're paying $2,200 a month, and you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, this is a lot of money. I wish I could save some money and start paying a mortgage. Well, there is some good news because interest rates have come down, okay? And I go to my trusty Mortgage News Daily, and check out the rates. And right now, a 30-year fixed rate as of today, as of about an hour ago, is 6.77. A 30-year FHA 6.1, VA 6.09. 6.09. So folks, we are down into the low sixes for VA and FHA loans. These are lower down payment loans, so you don't have to come in with the full 20%. You can come in with either, if you're a veteran or active military, no money down. If you're going for an FHA product, you can come in with as little as 3.5% down. 3.5% down. So that can make a big difference, because if you're buying a $400,000 house, do the math. 3.5%. That's a nice chunk of change. Okay. Excuse me. So rates are down. That means more people can afford to buy a home. So that means it's that much harder for buyers to find a home. And unfortunately, inventory is down too. Single-family inventory in the state of Rhode Island today dropped below 700 homes. That means in the entire state, all price points, the lowest price point to the highest price point of several $1 million, we only have about 690 homes on the market. That includes homes that are not livable, homes that have been stripped down to the studs, homes that need a ton of work. That includes homes that are virtual palaces. And then, of course, homes that are what everybody wants, that $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 three-bedroom, two-bath home. So if you are thinking about looking for a home, start preparing. Start looking now, and just convince yourself, manage your expectations. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen quickly. Okay, again, you've heard me say this before. We've had buyers, I've worked with buyers who have submitted offers on tens upon tens of homes, 20, 30 homes, before they get one that's accepted. Or you put an offer in, it gets accepted, and then you do the home inspection, and you find something out that was not evident before, and so you have to pass. Okay, it's always a challenge. Finding, but it's always good because I try to be a very responsive and professional, ethical. Not try to, I am, for my clients, and it's always enjoyable when I reach out to an agent on the other side, or that agent reaches out to me if it's on my listing, and it's someone who is also very thorough and someone who's also conscientious about their work. I had a conversation today with another colleague of mine. She has a great listing, multifamily listing here in Woonsocket. And, we started talking, and, you start to share things and kind of tip your hat about certain situations, certain products, or certain amenities that homes may have. And I could tell that she and I were like-minded. And I said, I'm with you. The previous three statements you made, I agree with you 100%. So we're reading from the same sheet of music, and that's important because when I'm working with someone who I know has the experience to understand real estate transactions, has the experience to know what's expected in a real estate transaction, what a seller should be doing, what a buyer should be doing, what a buyer's agent and seller's agent should be doing, what a lender should be doing. Okay? This listing agent is going to coach, is going to educate and inform her client, the seller, about the process. And if the client is in a situation and they ask for something that's unreasonable, that listing agent will probably inform her client that, that's a little unreasonable, or that's great, but we need to be a little more realistic. Okay, and that's a tough conversation to have sometimes, but many times it needs to be had. It doesn't mean that the client will listen to her, just like my clients don't listen to me all the time. But everybody, it's their money, they're spending it. We have to respect that as realtors. Okay, so it's important to, when you are looking at realtors, to try and find someone that you're comfortable with. Try and find someone who's knowledgeable, who understands that marketing a property is not one-sided. Okay, you don't want people who just do emails, who just do social media, who just um, put signs in the yard. You want someone that utilizes old technology and new technology when marketing your home. And you want someone who understands that your needs are something that may be as important as the sales price to you. You know, I've had clients who say, Joe, you know, this is what we're asking for. I can be flexible on the price, but I need to have ABC. Okay? That's, you know, one of those intangibles that's an important trait in a realtor. You know, we have to be able to listen, and sometimes we have to ask questions to find out what a client is really, what's really important to the client. Because sometimes either they may not know, other times they may not be willing to share that information or not be aware that they need to share that information. Okay? You know, I try to be very transparent and forthcoming in all of my transactions and everything I say and do. And usually that works out quite well for everyone involved. Folks, you're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI 99.9 FM, 1380 AM. And if you tuned in and my voice sounds a little different, yeah, it does. And I'm listening to it in the headphones, and that's because for the past several nights I've had post-nasal drip. So it's been a little bit annoying, but hey, it is what it is. No fever. I feel fine. Other than how my voice sounds, everything is normal, or as normal as it can be for Joe Luca, right? So you're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Beacon Title and Escrow, Don Miller, the principal lender at North Point Bank, 241-9676, GMET's Moving and Storage. We're going to get George back on the show in the next couple of weeks. And, of course, Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjuster, 484-300-8495. That's Vern Rainville. So, you know, I keep up on all of the goings-on in the real estate business and the housing business, you know, locally, statewide, and then also regionally and nationally. And I was checking out one of the research companies that I have an account with to get information about the real estate market, and they were saying how inventory is increasing and interest rates are expected to go into the 5s this spring. And I'm like, wow, woohoo, that sounds great. Unfortunately, again, real estate is like politics in the sense that all real estate values are local. All real estate conditions are local. And yes, while when you're looking at the numbers nationwide, it appears that inventory has increased, which it has. But here locally, it's actually gone down. You know, last week we were in the 700s. Now we're below 700. Okay, that's single-family homes that are currently on the market. All right, we probably need 5-6 times that to get back to a more balanced market. And this is with interest rates as elevated as they are, okay? In other words, they're not at 5% where pretty much everybody could qualify for a mortgage. Everyone with good credit, that is. Okay? You know, rates are still into the 6s, and that's the prime rate. Low 6s, high 6s if you're going conventional. If you are looking for something that's not a single-family residence, not going to be your residence, where you're not going to live there full-time, if you're looking at a multifamily, a condominium, the rates are going to be a little bit higher. Commercial rates are, again, higher as well. And the thing with commercial rates, now anything greater than 4 units is considered a commercial rental property. If you have a mixed-use property, if you have a property like a little strip center, those interest rates are even higher. But the big difference with a commercial loan, a purchase money mortgage for a commercial property, you have to come up with 25% down. Occasionally, if you have a really strong relationship with the lender or it's a special program, maybe you can get by with 20%, but you're not going to find 3.5% down, 5% down for a commercial mortgage. Just it's not out there. And there are a lot of reasons, as far as exposure to risk, that banks, that lenders do not like to allow commercial loans, to be written with with low down payments. Okay? Because the thing is, too, everybody needs a place to live. So if it's a residence, when the poop hits the fan, that market can come back more quickly and may not fall as precipitously because there's always going to be some built-in demand for residences because, like I said, people need a place to live, whether it's a rental property or a single-family property or a condo. If you have a strip plaza and a couple of those, the economy hits the skids and some of those tenants go out of business, let's say a coffee shop or a laundromat or a dry cleaning store, you get one or two of those that goes away, and a 5 or 6 unit property, that's a big hit. And a lot of times those businesses, that space can't be released until the economy starts to come back a little bit stronger, because as the economy comes back, people, they start to rebuild their credit and their savings. Then they can start to think about starting a business, leaving a secure job to go out on their own. So there's a little bit of a lag there between when a property goes into a distressed status and then when it will ultimately come out of distressed status. Again, whereas with a residence, looking at a single-family home or a condominium or a 3-family home, property goes distressed, 90 days later, 120 days later, it gets foreclosed on, the bank puts it back on the market. Generally speaking, that house is going to sell pretty quickly. If you look back 15 years ago in the depths of the Great Recession, homes were selling, took a little bit longer, but they were still selling. So residential properties are a little bit more resistant to downturns in the long run. They come back more quickly. Again, because there are more supply and demand again too. There are more folks typically looking for a place to live than there are people looking for a place to buy as an investment or open a business in a vacant property. Okay, so basic numbers. And especially if you're looking at, a little bit more suburban or rural areas where there's not a lot of, it's not like it's, Mineral Spring Avenue or Bald Hill Road where there's a ton of traffic. That's like, Main and Main. Those properties would be the ones that the big investors, the hedge funds, the insurance companies, the real estate investment trusts, they're going to look to those areas first. After all of those opportunities are used up, are consumed, then these big investors may start to look in more suburban and rural areas to find some properties that they can add value to and transform into performing properties. Okay. Folks, if you have any questions about anything that we're talking about tonight, I know it's getting a little bit, kind of technical. 769-0600. Again, 401-769-0600. Give us a call, and JR will patch you through if you're not sure about something or you have a question about something. 769-0600. Just give us a call right here at WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial. I want to just make a PSA, public service announcement. Tomorrow, St. Agatha's Parish Seniors Meeting, which is scheduled for 1 p.m., has been canceled. No more, okay? So this seniors meeting tomorrow at St. Agatha's at 1 o'clock has been canceled. So do not get in the car or whatever your method of transportation is and brave the elements to get to St. Agatha's for the senior meeting tomorrow, because it has been canceled. The 1 o'clock meeting has been canceled. Okay, getting back to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. So we're talking about residential real estate, commercial real estate, and yes, residential real estate is more, it's quicker to rebound than commercial real estate. And on that note of commercial real estate, again, you know, we've touched upon this in the past. It's widely expected that the commercial real estate industry is going to have some heavy sledding in 2024 and then into 2025, because a lot of these commercial loans are coming up for review. Now, these are loans that when they were written 2-3 years ago, the borrowers may have received interest rates in the 3 or 4% range. Okay. Now, again, the rates that I talked about before, those are for single-family owner-occupied residences. So the higher of those rates was knocking on 7. If you're looking at a commercial product, commercial mortgage product, that is going to be well into the 8s. And depending on the type of commercial property you have, maybe higher. Maybe higher. Also dependent on your collateralization, your financial capacity. Okay? So if you're paying 3%, and let's just say that's a $10,000 a month mortgage payment on your property, and then the interest rate goes from 3% to 7 to 8%, that's more than doubling, almost 3 times as much. So presumably that $10,000 a month mortgage payment is going to go into the high 20s or more. And what happens is, if the bank tells you, well, we're reviewing your loan and these are the new terms, all commercial loans can be reviewed, even if you have perfect credit, every payment was on time or early, in full, they still get reviewed. So that, imagine trying to deal with that, and typically they give you 90 days to either refinance the property, sell it, or figure out something, do some kind of a workout. So if you have 90 days and now you're going to refinance the property, wait, you don't have as much equity in the property as you thought you did, that makes it even more difficult. Now, most folks today should have accumulated equity in the property over the past 2 or 3 years. So as long as the property is performing and you can support your income from the property, could support debt service payments in the $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 range in my example, you're fine. But if you were barely keeping your head above water when the debt service payment was $10,000 a month, you're going to have a tough go, and you're probably going to have to either sell that property or bring in joint venture partners. Okay, bring in partners. Someone who is has a lot of financial capacity, and someone who could bring additional credit to the table to strengthen the loan for this property. Okay, that's the way banks, commercial lenders, many times look at them. Now we're talking about these loans, and they are bigger down payments, and they're typically higher interest rates, but there is something called the SBA, Small Business Administration. And the Small Business Administration has some loan programs which are geared towards small businesses and many different types of small businesses. And when you're looking to buy real estate with the small business, there may be other opportunities available, especially if you are as you and your business are going to occupy more than 50% of the building. Okay. Now this is a commercial product, so it's a loan product that Don Miller, the principal lender at North Point Bank, 401-241-9676, he does not have commercial loan products like this. But my buddy Bill Wallace at Cornerstone Commercial, he does. Okay. So if you have a small business, you think you're going to be coming up for review, um, or you own a building, a commercial building, and you think the loan is coming up for review, give me a call, 401-409-5030. I'll ask you a couple of questions, and if if the answers are appropriate, I will connect you with Bill. I want to send people over to him that their situations um, aren't ripe for that type of a product. But when it comes to SBA loans, I don't know anyone that knows more about them than Bill Wallace. He's probably forgotten more about SBA loans than most people ever know. Okay. And the SB loan is a very good product for lots of different types of small businesses. Lots of different types of small businesses can benefit from an SBA loan, Small Business Association or Administration. So that makes a lot of sense. This is a government entity. They want small businesses to become bigger businesses. What better way to do that than to help them with the financing when they're small, when they're bootstrapping, when they're trying to go from one man to two people to three people to having several people, and then eventually a payroll. Okay? The Small Business Administration, they like to do that, and they will do what they can via the products that they have to help that happen. Now, of course, if you have a restaurant and you're looking to buy a restaurant building, which, oh, by the way, I have a great restaurant building with a restaurant in Pawtucket that's for sale, off-street parking, everything is less than 2 years old inside the restaurant, everything's brand new. I could connect you with a great commercial lender like, Bill Wallace, so that you can find a way to purchase this. Additionally, the seller is willing to to hold paper, to do seller financing on this property. Okay? So give me a call if you or anyone you know may be interested in purchasing a restaurant with real estate. Excuse me, full liquor license, fantastic menu, kind of a global or intercontinental menu. They've got food from all the best cuisines in the world. And they do a really good job at it. And they have a full bar. They have a typical bar. You could sit down, grab a bite to eat at the bar, or you could sit down in the dining room. And they also do a lot of takeout business. So they have a really good clientele that orders food and takes it home. So they really have 3 different types of meals generating revenue. There's bar food, takeout food, and dining room. And they also do banquets. So, this is a great opportunity for someone who's looking to get into the real estate business, actually the restaurant business, or is thinking about expanding and you want to get something in a nice community like Pawtucket, where you've got good population density. This might be your ticket. Give me a call, 401-409-5030. You can also text me there, 401-409-5030. And we'll see if we can help you out. So folks, it's about 25 minutes before the hour. You're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI, 99.9 FM, 1380 on the AM dial. And we've been talking about, we started out with the real estate market, interest rates, what's going on with inventory. We talked about now commercial real estate and the changes that may be coming down the pike for that. And then just a great commercial real estate opportunity that I have, mixed-use property. Well, it's not a mixed-use property. It is in restaurant property, restaurant-occupied property. I have a couple of other properties that are coming on the market, commercial, residential apartment properties that will be coming on the market in a month or so. you think you might be interested in those. One's in Providence, one is in Pawtucket. Again, we can certainly talk about that. We can get you pre-approved ahead of time. 401-409-5030 is the number you want to reach out to me at. And or you can text me and I'll get right back to you. So residential properties are pretty much where it's at right now. There's still tremendous opportunity for folks to buy properties. You can still add value to properties. You have to know where to add value and how to add value appropriately for a property. Most people think they know the answers and the ways to do that, but most people don't. They have a wrong perception or an erroneous perception. The best thing to do is to consult with a realtor, someone who's experienced, who knows the area, the neighborhood, the city, the town, the village where the property is located, so they can give you, he or she can give you guidance on what you should consider doing, because you do not, emphasize, do not want to dump unnecessary money into a property because you're never going to get it back. You're never going to get it back. Well, Joe, I'll just wait for the property values to increase again. Right, so you spent $40,000 on that kitchen that only could increase the value of the house $20,000 bucks. You know, by the time that house increases enough to offset the monies spent on that kitchen remodel, that kitchen remodel may be passé. You know, some of these our design styles, it's like clothing. They go out of vogue so quickly. So you don't want to spend a lot of money and then realize it hasn't really increased the value of the property as much as you thought, number one. And number two, oh, you bought it at the tail end of that fashion trend, and 2 years from now, fast forward 2 years, that $40,000 kitchen needs to be ripped out because it's not current. Okay? Just the way it is, just the way it is. You know, I try to be very honest with my clients, and I love it when they ask me these questions before they spend money, because it's, you know, I'm kind of like the hero when I tell someone you really don't need to spend all that money. You can spend just this little amount here or no money, and it really won't affect the sales price of your home adversely. If you spend all that money, yeah, the value of the home might go up, but it may not go up as quickly as much as you think, number one. And number two, people may look at what you just did and they may not like it. And it's like, oh, I don't like those cabinets. So the calculus in that prospective buyer's mind is, oh, I've got to rip those out and put new ones in. That's another 15 grand. That's another 20 grand. And you thought you were doing a good job spending 20 grand remodeling a kitchen or a bathroom. That's why, folks, before you spend any money on your home, talk to a realtor. Okay, we don't, even if you don't want to put the house on the market, talk to a realtor. We don't have a horse in the race. So if you're going to redo your kitchen, if you spend $10,000 or $110,000, it doesn't make us any more or less money. We're going to give you an honest response, and we'll be able to back it up with data. Sales prices, okay? So don't be afraid of realtors. You know, I know there's a lot of, real estate and realtors have been in the news past few months, and the Wall Street Journal and whatnot. And, you know, look, realtors are human, and myself and pretty much all the realtors that I know personally do a great job, ethical people, looking out for the good of their clients. But, you know, there are some folks out there who don't, toe the line of the straight and narrow, sometimes veer off, and they give all of us a bad name. They give us all a black eye. What I try to do with this show is, I occasionally have my colleagues who are competitors of mine, have them on my show to talk about real estate. Matter of fact, that reminds me, I better call my buddy Emilio to get him on this show because I saw him a few weeks ago and we talked about it. We are going to go on a show and we didn't do it, so I'm going to reach out to Emilio. Okay, we'll get him on here in the next month or two as well, folks. Also, that reminds me, speaking about getting on the Joe Luca Real Estate Show, if you own a small business, if you know someone who owns a small business in the Blackstone Valley, if it's Lincoln, Pawtucket, Cumberland, Smithfield, Woonsocket, Blackstone, Bellingham, Rentham, they can have a spot. I want to do once a month. I want to give up the last 20 minutes of my show to a small business, no charge. Okay, I'm trying to pay it forward so small businesses can come on, whether it's for-profit or non-profit, and talk about what they do. Let the consumer know that you're out there. Let the consumer know that you fill a need. Let the consumer know what you need as a business. Oh, I need to get people into my coffee shop. Oh, I started a new candle business. We make fresh candles and potpourri or whatever it is. I'm kind of just making stuff up, stream of consciousness. But I know there are some new businesses here in the city of Woonsocket. I know there are new businesses in Cumberland. And you don't even have to be a brand new business. You can be a couple of years old, whatever. It just has to be a small business. I'm saying new so that those are the folks that typically have the least capital available. And, to do this, you don't need any capital. You just have to come on here and be able to talk, just like I am. And presumably you know all about your business, your product, who your ideal customer is, and who the opposite of your ideal customer is. And then just talk about the business so you can attract more of who you are. And then, when you come in here, record your episode here in the Joe Luca Real Estate Show, and then you can push it out on your social media. Give you some pointers on how to, some video editing software so you can chop it up into small videos, and then you can post it on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook to increase your reach, so you can get more people who will know about your business. Okay? Try to pay it forward. As I said last week, I grew up in a family. We owned some small businesses, and I know how hard it is. I know it's quite a challenge. It's not easy to run a small business. Sometimes you essentially own your paycheck. You're working for yourself, working hard, have a lot of freedom. There's a lot to be said for that. Not all of us were cut out to do the straight up 9 to 5. Sit behind a desk, work a keyboard. If you're one of those people who's doing it on your own, even if you're doing it on your own, is sitting behind the desk, tapping a keyboard, and you want to get some free exposure, just reach out. Again, you can reach out to the radio station, 401-769-0600. You could call me, 401-409-5030, or you can also text me at that number. Okay? Yeah, because I really want to try and make, push for this in 2024. If we get a lot of people, maybe we'll add, more episodes, more sessions of highlighting small businesses, and we'll just call it the Cup of Joe Luca. So we'll just come on here and we'll just have a cup of coffee and talk about your business. Okay? Folks, it's about a quarter to the hour, 15 before the hour. You're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI 99.9 FM, 1380 on the AM dial. We're also on Spotify, so you can listen to us after the fact. We rebroadcast the show every Saturday at 1 p.m. on the radio. And I also put it up on Facebook Live, and then I try to upload those episodes to YouTube. They don't always go up, so they don't go up consistently, but I do try to do that. If you have any questions, reach out 401-409-5030. And again, if anyone has any questions on anything regarding your own house, your neighbor's house, your grandmother's house, you can give us a call here at the station, 401-769-0600, and we will answer those questions for you. So getting back to, just the industry and what's going on with interest rates, generally folks are forecasting or predicting that interest rates are going to drop. Now, I've said this many times before, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be selling homes. But the general consensus is as inflation stops increasing and maybe even decreases a little bit, that's good for interest rates. Okay, that's good for interest rates, or mortgage interest rates, okay? So people are talking about in the fives. I think it's going to be probably in the mid fives, high fives. I don't see us going any lower than that by the end of 2024. There are a lot of other things that are going on in the economy that are creating some challenges, some headwinds, so that these lower interest rates come rolling in for all home buyers. But looking at some of the local housing markets in the month of December, with Calculated Risk, which is an economics website, just kind of giving a little bit of perspective here. The city of Boston closed sales in December of 23 had 1,264 transactions. December of 22, 1,628. December of 19, 2,067. So year over year, from 22 to 23, we had it was December 23rd. So December 19th, we had 2,067. It was a 22.4% decrease. So the sales are still down from where they were in December of 19. Looking at, let's see, another big city, if we're looking at Detroit, they're down versus 2019, 27%, 27.3%. Las Vegas down 38%, just like Boston. Okay, New Hampshire, Providence is not big enough to be on here, but if you're looking at the entire state of New Hampshire, they're down 32.6% from 2019. The Northwest region down 43.4%. The city of San Diego, I think this takes the cake, they're down 46.6% from 2019. So December of 23 compared to December of 2019, the number of closed sales was down 43%. Good grief. That's a huge hit. Huge hit. One of the only places that we saw an increase was Grand Rapids, Michigan, which was an increase of 1.5%. Every place else was well into the negative numbers, folks. So, so we're not selling anywhere near the number of houses that we did right before COVID. Now, if you remember, COVID hit the beginning of 2020. That's why we're looking at numbers from 2019, which was pretty much a regular market that December, compared to December of 23, a regular market. 20, 21, 22, there were still some lingering effects from COVID. So those numbers may not be as accurate as we would think otherwise, but certainly from December of 19, the number of sales has dropped significantly. Some other data that we could be looking at just to see what's going on in the economy is GDP, gross domestic product. And the fourth quarter of 23, they're expecting the GDP to be in the range of 1.3 to 2.2%. So that's a positive number. So that is a good thing. So as long as we stay positive, That's good. The bigger that number is, we can get it up to 3%, 4%, like we had before the resident in the White House took over. Then things will really be humming along fantastically. And hopefully the economy will return to that. I mean, I remember from 16, 17, 18, 19, the economy was just doing gangbusters. Unemployment was really strong. Wages were increasing every year. It was a dynamite time to be conducting business in this country. Unfortunately, that came to an end, but hopefully it will come back again. Where the election season is upon us, and last night was the beginning of the season, the Iowa caucuses, and it was interesting how President Trump ran away with it. Took, I think he only missed about 9 of the precincts. So it looks like he's going to be a formidable candidate for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is out there. He's talking to the media, and essentially what he's saying is the economy is strong. We just don't know it. He's trying to explain it to us in words that maybe he thinks we'll understand. I don't know. I was an econ minor, so I kind of just look at the numbers. And was everything perfect with the previous administration? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nor was it the administration prior to that and the one prior to that, and all the way back to 1776, we've had problems. But this great experiment that we have, this great experiment in democracy that started in 1776, and then with our first president, George Washington, we have been the envy of the world. I was just watching, and I'm not getting political, but I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and there was this gentleman on. He's a comedian, and he's a Palestinian comedian, and it has nothing to do with Palestine. But here's a guy, he's in his probably 50s or 60s, a kid. And he came to this country legally in 2014, I think he said. And he was talking about this country with a sense of passion that was remarkable. That was remarkable. And he said, do I like everything this country does? No. He said, do I criticize this country? He said, yes. He said, but it is still the best country in the world. And he has a really interesting perspective, okay, because he came from a different part of the world, the Middle East, came here. He's not someone who came in here with a lot of money. He's not, like royalty or anything like that. He's just a hardworking, regular kind of a guy. And it was really refreshing hearing him talk about this country and recognizing all of the challenges that we have, but still say unequivocally it's the best country in the world. And a lot of times we Americans, I think we kind of, especially here in Rhode Island, we get really down in the dumps about Rhode Island, and we complain, and it's not as good as it should be, and this and that. And you just sometimes you need to just take a step back and look at the situation from 10,000 feet up. And I'm going to be participating in a presentation tomorrow. It's a Zoom presentation, but it's for global business. And we're going to have some folks on there from the National Association of Realtors, Rhode Island Association of Realtors, the state of Rhode Island, and colleagues from Portugal. And we're going to be talking about the opportunities that are available for realtors, not just in Rhode Island, but overseas. And tomorrow we're going to be having this presentation with some folks from Portugal, but it could be any country. And the segue is, for too long, people in this state don't have enough self-confidence in the state. Like the state doesn't have the self-confidence to market itself globally. And we have so much to offer that even our neighboring states don't have. You know, we have a surface transportation, a rail system, air travel, and marine travel. So however you want to transport your goods, if you're distributing them, you know, Rhode Island, we are one of the top 10 automobile importers in the country. Right here in Little Rhode Island. Because it makes sense. The cost of doing business here is, and living here, is less than it is in neighboring states. We're only a stone's throw from Boston, from New York City, anywhere you need to go, because we have such great surface transportation. Throw it on a truck and ship it there. Put it on a plane and fly it there. You know, look at Quonset Business Park. There's a deep water port. 150 metric ton crane to lift products off of these ships. These are the type of things that a lot of Rhode Islanders, a lot of even my colleagues are unaware of. And if we just trumpeted this goodness, this opportunity, this potential to other countries, realtors in other countries, businesses in other countries, we get more people taking a look at Rhode Island. Because face it, it's a tiny state. You know, even if you know where the state of Rhode Island is, and you look at a map of the United States, you have to squint your eyes to find Rhode Island. And we live here. Imagine if you don't live here and you've never heard of Rhode Island. A lot of times people haven't heard of Rhode Island, but they've heard about Newport. They've heard about Newport. So, talking about the self-confidence, the self-esteem with business, with real estate, with the state of Rhode Island, the United States, kind of rambling on here. We were talking about how we really need to get things back on track nationally with our economy so things can really thrive again. But even with that, there are still many opportunities for us Rhode Islanders to continue to have a vibrant business. You know, real estate drives everything. Real estate drives everything. And it's important to keep a healthy real estate market. I'm hopefully providing information that you guys really value. If you have any questions or you'd like to talk about different things, don't hesitate to give me a call, 401-409-5030. That's my my business mobile number, 401-409-5030. And we'll, you know, answer questions for you. Okay? Until next week, I want to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back. Stay warm and safe out there because it is pretty slippery. Thanks to our sponsors, GMET's Moving and Storage, Don Miller, the principal lender, Beacon Title and Escrow, and of course, Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjusters. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye. Hey, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.